Okay, quick video. A few things to know before you get started. I should have done this first, but there you go. Number 1, graphics settings. As you're wandering around the dungeon, looking at light sources, looking into rooms with many objects, a number of things can trigger this. You may find your frame rate drops. If this happens, try setting your super sampling to medium. It may clear it up. You'll have to experiment. I also use vertical sync on, just to smooth out the frames a bit. Second thing, rebinding keys. These are my keys. As you would expect, the movement keys. I use run, sprint, X, crouch space, orbit camera, middle mouse, as you would expect. Don't bother with a line camera. Interact in combat mode, E, toggle combat Q, inventory R, skills F. Who would use I to open your inventory? You'd have to have fingers like E.T. Dash mode, they've added a new option so you can sprint to dash. I personally would prefer to leave that on hold, at least for the moment. Removing windows. When you're playing the game, often you will find you have numerous windows open because you've been comparing items, fiddling about, doing whatever, and it can be tedious to close all these windows down. So an easy way just to get rid of pressing escape won't work. An easy way to just get rid of all these windows is to double tap combat mode. Shifts all your windows. Sprinting. You can move around the dungeon with the keys. If you press the run key, you'll run. You can also run with the mouse. But if you press the mouse and the run key at the same time, you will sprint. This is the fastest you can move. Your encumbrance will affect this. You may, if you have to move very quickly, you may find it worth stripping down to shift this encumbrance. Five, sidestepping. If you're wedged on an object such as this and you can't get past it, this happens on door frames, walls, corners, all sorts of things, and you just get stuck. Enter combat mode, sidestep, exit, continue. It's an easy way just to unstick yourself. Six, moving objects. Say you've got an object and you want to move it. The normal way is just to grab it, move it to the limit of range, see how the cursor changes to a cross, drop it, grab it, move it to the limit of range, drop it. Obviously this gets old fast. A more effective way to move it is to enter combat mode, activate, grab the object. Now if you keep it within the limit of range, moving will just rotate the object like this. If you put it beyond the limit of range, you can move the object about. Don't worry about the artifacts. Just keep that object beyond the limit of range and you can move around with the object and then just drop it where you want. Obviously, this also applies to the torch. So you can put the torch down, enter combat mode, activate, grab the torch and move about with the torch in combat mode. Just knock it back if you want to light up the area you're in. and this saves you having to move your torch repeatedly as you're exploring dark places. It's just a nice way to do it, a convenient way to do it. I will show you another way to do this, although I wouldn't recommend doing this myself. Outside of combat mode, you may be moving using the keys, for example. You can drag your torch out of your inventory, but I've just taken my hands off the movement keys. He's on autopilot now. I can still move and guide him, but I can't stop him. He's just sort of out of control. He's on autopilot, and for that reason I wouldn't recommend using this method. I would use the combat method, where you just grab that torch, keep it out of the limit of range, start moving, and knock it back into the limit of range when you want to light up the area you're in. Eight. Basic combat. I'm not going to go into too much detail about combat, and you probably already know this, but just on the off chance you don't know this, your basic combat swing is a right to left. Click and hold left mouse button. You can add power to that swing by moving in the direction the weapon is travelling. So if you move left, forward and left, or theoretically backwards and left, it will add power to that blow. This is the normal blow. We can add power to it by moving in the direction the weapon is travelling. Another method of adding power, momentum to the weapon, is to move the cursor, rotate the character in the direction the weapon is travelling, as follows. Now you may want to combine these two moves. You can get some serious power into a weapon blow by doing this. The reverse also works, and it's worth remembering. If you move in the opposite direction to the way the weapon's travelling, or if you move the cursor in the opposite direction, if you rotate the character in the opposite direction to the way the weapon is travelling, it will gimp your blow. For example, like this. Whoops. Pathetic. I mean, that is a pathetic blow. So to summarise, moving in the direction your weapon is travelling, or rotating with the mouse in the direction your weapon is travelling, or blow, or both, will increase the power of your blow. And we'll leave that there for now.